homies? Oh man, let me sit you down. Let me explain the situation. There are gonna be days where you just got the world thrown at you. And I don't mean in like a big negative way. I just mean where so much work is happening all at once. No matter how hard or how far you get against it, and try to plan ahead, just sometimes you gotta have a lot to do in one day, And those are the days that you gotta make a little bit of sacrifice, I tell you guys all the time, like, I love my job. 12-hour night shifts are tough, but it's worth it for me because it's something I love to do. So at the psych unit, and it's inevitable that I'm not going to be able to be as strong and as core confident as I want to be when I'm doing those kinds of shifts in the gym. And man, let me tell you, it hurts my soul when I work a 12-hour shift. I'm like, all right, good, got it done. Gotta wake up, go back to the gym, but a solid 6 hours of sleep, that's just enough for me. It's just enough to like do good, whip it the same way that I'd want to whip it, But when you wake up and you're like, I'm up a little bit early, it's noon, I only got 4 hours of sleep so far, and you look at your phone and you see that work email and you're like, fuck, because you already saw it. Gotta open it now. You gotta look at it now. You can't ignore it. You already know the work's hitting you up. You realize you have a meeting at 1 p.m. and you didn't get home until 7:30 a.m. that same day from a shift. So you're getting 4 hours of sleep, going straight back to work meeting, going straight back to gym, going straight back to work again, and tomorrow, of course, we will be doing gym and work again. This is just one of those wacky times where I got 3 shifts in a row, back to back to back, with working out every single day. And it's unfortunate, but it's what I signed up for, I can't sit here and bitch and complain about it when it's something that I know is possible, It can happen at any point, and all I can do is sit here and appreciate the fact that I can lift it all, and also that, oh my God, thank the Lord, this was not on a peak week. If I had to do a peak day off 4 hours of sleep, nah, sir. And it was like, squat days are tough, but like they aren't as hard as a snatch day or a clean and jerk day when I'm doing the 3 exercises in a row. If I had to do that on a day like today, right, it could always be worse, And you got to look at that and you got to tell yourself, like, what can I really do on 4 hours of sleep? What, like truly, what is capable right now? Because it's not a matter of like, well, 4 hours of sleep, I'm fucked, If you have that mindset, you're not going to be able to do anything at all. You got to at least give yourself a chance. A lot of people, especially at work, will be like, hey man, just take the day. I know it's tough, but like sometimes it's good to take a little rest day. And I'm like, I get that. And I'm not going to tell you that that's exactly wrong, but it's the fact of giving it an attempt. You know what I mean? I'm always fighting for that attempt. And if I know in my heart that I can absolutely try to go and do something, is that not worth anything at all? Right? It's not so much the weights that ever really matter, it's the intensity, man. And so if you're going to sit there and be like, oh, I'm just so tired, I worked a little bit more than normal. And it's like, I get it. If you physically feel like you're going to get injured, take a day. But if I know I can do at least a little bit of something, I can do a little something. It doesn't have to be exactly what's written on the program. I told you guys, if I need to take a day to go lighter and I really need it, I'll take it. I'm not going to force myself to get injured like I used to. But if I know I can at least give it that little bit of a go, even if it's just the barbell, man, it's something. It's something. Keep it consistent so that when you come back in the next day relaxed and rested, you can actually destroy that workout the way you originally intended to. But I said, no, I have to try, because not even just for the fact that physically I felt okay, and mentally I felt fine, I was just a little bit exhausted compared to normal. It's the fact that in my schedule there was time. I could do it. Because everybody always likes to say, oh, I don't have time for that. I work too much. I could never do that. I call bullshit every time. Because if someone's going to sit there and tell you that they genuinely do not have time for something, the only thing that I'm hearing is that you don't care enough. And that's not me coming after anybody or saying that that's a bad thing. Sometimes you have to prioritize other things, but don't say you don't have time. Say it's not a priority right now. You go when you want to. But for me, this is a life passion. This is what I want to do in my life. This is where I get my purpose, my reason to keep getting up and working as hard as I do. You know, it makes me want to work harder at the hospital. Because if I didn't have the gym pushing me as hard as it did, I wouldn't give as much of a shit going to the hospital half the time. Because that's not my main passion. It's a passion, but it's accentuated by the joy and the progress and the goals that I hit while just going to the gym and doing the thing that I choose to do. You know, the positive interactions that I choose to get myself into. You know, because like it's you can always bring passion into anything, no matter if it's like a job that you wanted or not. But when it comes to the things that truly, truly, truly make a difference in your life, they're the positive activities or passions, hobbies, whatever you want to call it, that you choose to do on your own. You know, no money attached, no obligation, no one told you to do it. You just thought, hey, that might be cool. Let me see what happens if I just try, if I just give it that one attempt, if I can just see what I can fiddle with, and we'll see where it goes from there. That's how it starts, man. And you got to try everything once to see what truly matches you. You know, I got a ton of things I'm sure I'm passionate about that I just haven't tried yet, because there are too many things in this world that you can't sit there and say you've done it all. You can't sit there and say I've tried hard enough and it doesn't work. There's always something else that you have not tried. Because if you say that that's it, I did my best, there's nothing I can do, you're not trying hard enough, or you don't care, or you're not passionate enough. That's all it is. I tell you guys all the time, the people who make the most progress in, not even just the gym, but in their passions in general, are the people who give the most of a shit. You know, who actually care. The people who come in and do the perfect program, quote unquote, but they just do it because someone told them to, or they found it online, or their trainers just tell them to do it because why not? That doesn't get them to that next level. You know, it doesn't. It's the passion and the intensity you put behind that effort. I'm burnt out right now. I can't lie to you. I'm not going to sit here and ignore the things that I want to complain about. But the thing is that you get that shit out. You complain. You got to complain at some point. You got to rant it out. But once you got that shit out, reflect on yourself. Look back at what you've done and say, damn, I did pretty damn good, I think. You know? I was talking to a homie at the gym about it today. Like this man is an ex-professional football player, and I'm pretty sure he's a cop right now. He is like, dude, he's got to be like 6'6", and he is beefy. Oh God, he's giant, man. He looks like a giant. And so I respect the hell out of him, and I look up to him a lot. And I was like, yeah, this is what went down today. Like, really proud of the lifts, but just so burnt out, man. It's like really hard. It's like nothing to run home, like going bragging about too much. Like it's my deload week. I'm glad that I hit it. It's going to make me way better for the rest of the program. And he was like, dude, why are you saying that? I'm like, what do you mean? He's just like, you know, you put in the best you had today. It's the intensity that you put in, man. You know, it don't matter if you're tired. It don't matter if you think that you have low energy or that you didn't do it to the best of your ability that you normally can do. You came in and did something, damn it. And I'm like, God, because sometimes I gotta hear that too. I preach it all the time, but I gotta hear that from someone else on the occasion, you know, when I really need it. You know, it's just, there's always gonna be days where you gotta sit there and be like, damn, I gotta open this show up to somebody. There's always gonna be days like that. Because everything went really well. The clean and jerk accessory, I didn't want to make it too complex because I was so burnt out and didn't have enough energy to fully recover. Because if you don't sleep enough, like for me, 6 hours is just enough to recover and recuperate from yesterday's workout. If I don't sleep enough, I cannot do it. I can't. It's not a matter of can't. It's more just like I can't supersede the weight expectations, which is fine. That's not what it's about. So I'll come in and do my best in the other realms of intensity, of core, of technique, you know? And hitting 275 on the it was a long ass pause at the knee. I'm happy with that. I take that every day. That's going to prep me so well. For that to be on a deload week, I'll take it. And it's also awesome because on any other day, I'm confident 295 would have gone for a long pause. And that's awesome. That is awesome because I'm prepping for 315 this cycle. So it's going to build. It's going to become way, way easier to hit these lifts that I've been aiming for so long. And then the back squat, even though it wasn't exactly what I wanted. You know, every set honestly wasn't even that great. I kept thinking about my technique a little too much, my foot placement a little too much. Just worrying about the little shit. You know, just a little too much. And you can, you know, I get it. you want to make sure everything's perfect sometimes, especially when you just got low energy and you're just like, I'll just put everything into technique. You sometimes can still overthink it, even though that's the main priority. You got to let go a little bit. You can't overthink it too much. And the best set was easily the last set when I got the 365 for 5, because that's all I'm doing this week, so I can recuperate and recover from the peak week last week. And it was not only the best looking set when it comes to like the weight, because the warm-ups are always going to move a little fast, but it moved really, really well. It was the most confident I felt under the barbell, because it was the one set where I was like, don't look at your feet. Go where your body tells you to go. I've been squatting long enough to where I know where I'm supposed to go according to my body's proportions. My body has, its own equilibrium that when I hit that right placement, when I do that little bounce, that little shimmy after the walkout, I get that nice little bit of I know exactly where my feet are, And they don't have to be perfect, they don't have to be fully fucking perfectly lined up, but they're lined up enough to where I can do it to the highest of my ability. Because I tell you guys all the time, on your heaviest lift of the day, that's where the technique's going to come through, because you can't think about it. You've got to just try and do it to the best of your ability. And I did. Felt great. I'm not going to lie to you. My low back is tired as shit. Felt like I pulled my gluteus for a second. But we made it. No pain. Tired, but we made it. And again, even though today was not exactly what I wanted it to be, pushing through the hardest of days, or not even this, today wasn't even that hard. It was just tiring, I was just beat up, I knew I had the weights, I knew I could do it. It was just committing to it. That was the hard part today for once. It's normally not like that. But getting through a day like today specifically is going to be what makes it so much easier to recuperate on the next day, and then the next, and then the next week, and the next month, These hardest days, while they don't make for the best short-term progress, the recuperation I will need from this kind of a lift, especially after my next rest day, I'm going to be peaked as hell on my next clean and jerk day. I'm not going to go to anything heavy crazy or anything. I got the weights already set up to a certain extent to where I'm supposed to go. But I'm telling you, it's going to move fast, because you got to blow your core up on a day where you can hit the weight, but you just got to lock it in a little bit, So 4 hours of sleep is not a lot. I'll tell you that. I don't feel like I can function that well on it, but I talked to the homies. I expressed myself. I got the shit out. I locked the hell in. I talked to people who hyped me up, and we did it. That's all that matters. That's all that matters, man. At the end of the day, just get hyped, get passionate, love the day. That's it. Physically. Physically, it was a solid, I give it a 7.7, It was a good day. It was definitely a good day. Clean and jerks actually were really good, thinking about how tired I was, especially the last set being as good as it was at 275. The squats they took me out for sure. But again, going a little bit easier, even though today felt like it was the hardest day of the week, it was one of the easier days because I actively took the time I needed to recover in the moment, So it's going to come back tenfold. It's going to really, that good karma is going to build up when you get there. Mentally, just a flat 8, really flat 8. It wasn't a crazy day. I was tired, but I definitely locked it in. That's all that, I'm proud of that. And again, the biggest thing today was just having good personal relations. We had a big conversation today at my meeting about making sure that you keep talking to people outside of work. And it's so important. It is so important, because with the people that you work directly in your field with, you're going to rant all day long about whatever you went through, because, they're the only people who are going to really understand it. But then what about after? What's the productive afterthought? You can't just rant the whole time, go off about whatever happened at work, and then leave it at that. You got to work on something else, And so that's kind of what the gym is for me. It's my way to get away from the typical, I got to go to work no matter what because I don't have a choice type schedule and type people, and get to the places where we choose to be there and we want to be there, and we just are trying to better each other and better ourselves. And so it gets you hyped up to the extent that you need to bring it back and think, damn, I did good today. That's why I can be so passionate about my work. Because if I didn't have the gym, I probably wouldn't give a shit about the hospital, just being real. I probably would have burned out a long time ago in this kind of schedule, but I have that drive. I have that passion to want to do this shit because I love And I know it's because I truly know how much I have in me, you know, and how much I want to care. So we're making it work. It's going to keep going. I am going to be back tomorrow. You know, I'm going to really try to get enough sleep. I work tomorrow night as well, so it's just going to be a day where I'm not going to get as much sleep as I want, but it'll be more sleep than last night, so I think it'll be all right. You know, and one way or another, if it doesn't go the way I want it to, it doesn't matter. I will do as much as I can, whether that's the barbell or the weights that I have scheduled. It's going to get hit. You know, something's going to go, and I'm going to give it the maximum intensity no matter what it is. Appreciate y'all hearing me out. Had to get it out. You know I got to yap it. I got to get it out. And I will be back, of course. Let me know how your lives and lists are going. Love hearing about it. I'll see you tomorrow. Love you guys. See you later.